Welcome to No Nonsense Psychiatry, the podcast that cuts through the noise and the confusion surrounding mental health. My name is Mark and I'm your host, and my goal is to give you the clear, practical information you need to understand your own well-being. No jargon, no fluff, just honest, helpful tools to help you on your journey. Let's dive in.
No nonsense.
Welcome back to No Nonsense Psychiatry. This is episode 91, and I'm Mark. Today we're talking about the phrase we all used. I'm not arguing about this. Usually we say that when we're fed up, exhausted, or about to blow a fuse, we see arguing as a failure, don't we? A sign that the marriage is hitting the rocks, or a workplace is toxic. But here's the no-nonsense truth. Arguing isn't the problem. It's how we do it. When it's done right, a disagreement is just a high-speed way to solve a problem. It's a tool for growth, not a weapon for destruction. The old school foundations are simplified, okay? So people have been trying to figure out how to disagree without killing each other for thousands of years. So the sophists were like the sleazy lawyers of ancient Greece, and they just wanted to win even if they were wrong. And then there was Socrates among the annoying why guy. Yeah, he believed if you kept asking questions, you'd eventually find the truth. And then Aristotle gave us three big ingredients for a good point. First one is fact, logos, and that might be the bank statement says we spend 200 on takeout. Then there's trust, the ethos, and it might be I have handled the budget for 5 years without any issues. And then there's feeling, the pathos, and I'm worried we won't have enough for the car rego. Why bad arguments fail is the everyday blunders. So most kitchen table arguments fail because we use cheat codes. They don't actually work. Yeah. So we got the character assassination. Okay. So instead of talking about the messy garage, you say, you're just lazy like your father. Now you're arguing about his dad and not the garage. The always and never trap. Yeah. You always forget the milk. Well, actually, you forgot it once, and now you're defending. Now they're going to be defending their honour instead of just going back to the shops. And then the straw man. Your partner says, "I think we should spend less on streaming services," and you respond, "So you want us to live in a cave with no entertainment?" You're fighting a fake version of their viewpoint. There are 3 rules of engagement, of how to argue like a pro. Okay, so rule 1 is attack the problem, not the person. Okay, how often do I say that? Attack the problem. It's not the person. The problem, it doesn't define the person, does it? It's the problem. So imagine the problem is a brick wall between you and the other person, and you should both be on the same side of the wall, trying to knock it down. Yeah. So use I statements. Bad. You make me feel so angry when you're late. Good. I feel stressed when I'm waiting out front because I don't like being late to the movies. Yeah, see the difference in that? Yeah, you make me so angry when you're late, but now you're pushing it back on yourself. I feel stressed because that's the real problem. You feel stressed because you don't like being late for the movies. You don't want to be late for the movies, do you? Right? It's not that person that's making you stressed, really. It's the fact that you don't like being late for the movie. And then rule 2 is to listen to understand and not to reload. Yeah? So most of us just wait for the other person to stop talking so we can fire out our next bullet. We're thinking about our next thing even while they're talking. Yeah. So this is the mirror. So before you give your side, repeat back theirs to them. So if I've got this right, you're upset because you feel like you're doing all of the school run lately. Is that it? Yeah. So once you feel heard, their fight or flight brain shuts off. Okay, they feel like you've understood what they're saying, yeah, rather than sitting there not really listening or half listening to what they're saying and just coming up with your next quip. Because you remember, every time you want to be right, you actually just really want the other person to be wrong. And do you really want that for your partner and everybody else? You don't, do you? That doesn't define you. Okay. Rule 3 is to look for that win-win. Yeah, the pizza principle. So if you argue about whether to have pepperoni or veggie pizza, you both stay hungry, don't you? So if you realise the interest is just being full and watching the movie, you get half and half. It makes sense, doesn't it, when you think about it? You step back on it. Yeah, you can imagine arguing about it. You think, why don't we just get half and half? Yeah. So ask yourself, what is the actual goal here? Is it to be right, or is it to have a nice evening? I guess the key takeaways from this very, very short episode tonight, which I think is really important sometimes to have a quick snapshot, because arguments tend to be quick, and then in 5 minutes we don't feel the same sort of way, and then we're arguing, or we're continuing to worry about an argument because pride gets in the way. So this is good. This is a good summary. So anyway, so the key takeaways are this: conflict is just the data. Yeah, a fight is just your brain's way of saying, hey, something here isn't working for me. Don't fear the data. Use it. Ditch the courtroom, right? You aren't a lawyer trying to win some sort of case. You're having an argument with your partner, your friend, your work colleague, someone that you've got to spend a lot of time with. And all you're trying to do is find a solution. If you win an argument, but your partner feels like a loser, you actually both lost, haven't you? So the check-in, right, over the blow-up. Use the pause from episode 90 that I talked about in the last episode. When things get heated, say, I want to resolve this, but I'm just getting too worked up. Can we talk about this in 20 minutes? There's your pause. Okay, it's what we talked about last time. It's having that pause so that you don't feel like you have to continue to go on and go on and go on and repeat yourself. Yeah, you got that pause. Brilliant. There's my little pause. Anyway, arguments are not the end of a relationship. They are the beginning of better understanding, which in turn is a better relationship, which means that you've got more growth, which means that you both understand your boundaries. It's a good thing to argue sometimes, to get things, to clear the air, because the last thing you want to do is hang on to stuff and then end up with resentment. And then you don't even know why you were arguing to start with. You don't even know why you feel resentful, because you haven't been keeping a log of it. Yeah, because it's just a continuous, I must win, I must win, I must win. Stop trying to win and start trying to connect. Until next time, keep it no nonsense. Before we go, if you found the podcast helpful, please share it with someone who might benefit from it. You can also support the show by subscribing and leaving a review. It only takes a moment, but it makes a big difference in helping us reach more people. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode of No Nonsense Psychiatry.
No nonsense.